Hello, good afternoon. The Queen and Prince Charles have been visiting the Duke of Edinburgh in hospital in Cambridgeshire. He's been treated for a blocked coronary artery after complaining of chest pains. Buckingham Palace says he's had a good night and is now under observation. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell reports.
The Queen en route this morning by helicopter from Sandringham to Papworth Hospital in Cambridge to visit her husband. The fact that she's gone so promptly to her husband's bedside suggests that this was a moment of real anxiety for the royal family, albeit one that now appears to have passed. A short time after the Queen's visit, the Prince of Wales also arrived at the hospital. According to Buckingham Palace, the Duke, who was 90 last June, spent a good night after surgeons performed the operation late last night to relieve a blocked artery in his heart. He'd been taken to hospital after experiencing chest pains at Sandringham. After tests, doctors decided that what's described as a minimally invasive procedure should be carried out under local anaesthetic. Up to now, the Duke has been continuing with an active programme of engagements. Just 2 months ago, he was in Australia at the side of the Queen, doing what he's done for very nearly 60 years now, supporting the monarch. The person closest to her, though always in public a step or two behind her. On that occasion, guiding children through the crowds to meet her, and, notwithstanding his naturally rather dominant personality, content to take second place, as he always has. Earlier this year, he did, at the time of a 90th birthday, which he tried his best to play down, admit that it might be time to ease up a little.
I reckon I've done my bit. I want to enjoy myself for a bit now. With less responsibility, less frantic rushing about, less preparation, less trying to think of something to say. On top of that, memory is going. I can't remember names and things. Yes, I'm just sort of winding down.
The Duke will certainly be hoping to accompany the Queen as fully as possible next year as she celebrates her Diamond Jubilee. But that must now depend on how well he recovers. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
Louisa Baldini is at the hospital near Cambridge for us now. What's the latest from there, Louisa?
Well, the briefing we had from the Buckingham Palace press officer just outside the hospital here, around about an hour or so, was very positive. The message was that the Duke of Edinburgh is in good spirits, that he is, in fact, very eager to leave hospital, but he is going to be kept in here tonight. And, in fact, the press officer indicated that although the timings aren't clear, he could remain here for up to 4 to 5 days. Now, I did ask whether it is now known whether the Duke of Edinburgh did suffer a heart attack yesterday, but the answer to that is that they aren't making any comment whatsoever. Whatever happened, we know that the Duke of Edinburgh is in good hands here because Papworth Hospital is the UK's largest specialised heart hospital. They deal with heart patients, 70,000 heart patients every year. And this operation that the Duke of Edinburgh had last night to insert a stent into one of his arteries, which was blocked. That is a routine operation. It's carried out on 2,500 patients here every year. It's minimally invasive and carried out under local anaesthetic. In fact, quite often patients are allowed to be discharged the day after that procedure, but of course, given Prince Philip's age, 90 years old, he is being kept here under observation. And the two main concerns, as far as we understand from medical professionals who've been speaking to the BBC this morning, will be to ensure that the stent opens correctly to allow the blood to flow properly, and they will also want to ensure that there is no tissue rejection by the patient. That is why he is going to be kept here under observation. Now, the timing of these things is always indiscriminate, but really terribly bad luck for the Duke of Edinburgh coming so close to Christmas, which is such an important time for the royal family when they all come together. But the fact that he was rushed here yesterday by helicopter, and especially given that he is a man who doesn't like any fuss, who is very much has a stiff upper lip, really does show that this was very significant. And in fact, one doctor told the BBC that carrying out this sort of stent procedure does possibly mean that a heart attack can be avoided. So he is stable, he is in good spirits, but it seems like he will be spending Christmas Day here.
Louisa, thank you. Well, our correspondent Alex Dunlop is at Sandringham for us. And Alex, the family now returning after the hospital visiting.
Well, I'll tell you what, Maxine, all the activity seems to be in the skies above me and not on the ground. It's helicopters coming and going. Now, within the last hour, the Royal Helicopter has returned from Papworth Hospital with the Queen and, I understand, other members of the royal family on board, Prince Edward, Prince Andrew, the Princess Royal and Commander Tim Lawrence, and it landed at Sandringham House just a few hundred yards behind me. And then within the last 15 minutes, the helicopter took off again. Now, we don't know whether it's returning to London or indeed taking a second party of visitors from Sandringham House to go and see the Duke. Now, I think it's significant that the Queen and, of course, the Prince of Wales, along with other members of the royal family, have been to visit the Duke this morning, not only, of course, because it's Christmas, but that it shows that this really was a significant health scare. But that said, medical experts seem to be very reassuring, saying that there's no reason why the Duke shouldn't be fighting fit within a matter of a few days. One medical expert said, you know, he could be back at Sandringham within the next 24 to 48 hours. And certainly, knowing the Duke, he's a very fit and active man. He'll be wanting to get back here as soon as possible. He's supposed to be leading the Boxing Day shoot. He also wants to come back simply because over the Christmas period, this is very much a sanctuary for the extended members of the royal family. It's a chance for them to wind down and actually, you know, be a family. It's a lovely part of the world here in northwest Norfolk. It's set in 60 acres of parkland and gardens, so they really will have some respite. Just to say also that the royal family will be going to church tomorrow, but today they'll be unwrapping their Christmas presents without the Duke of Edinburgh.
Alex, thank you. Joining me in the studio is our royal correspondent, Nicholas Witchell. Nick, what do you make of the number of visitors, how quickly they got there and who they were?
This is a very stoical family, as Louisa Baldini was saying. They don't like to make a fuss. They don't generally rush to visit each other in hospital. So I think that there is no doubt that this was a real scare, a moment of considerable anxiety for the family, and I suppose that is just a statement of the obvious. He's 90 years old. He was experiencing chest pains. He was having to be rushed off to hospital to they knew not what. Now, it has turned out, so far as we are aware, well. He's in good spirits. As Louisa was saying, the briefing from Buckingham Palace is very positive, but the fact that the Queen went with all of the couple's children this morning, Prince Charles, the Princess Royal, the Duke of York, the Earl of Wessex, all of them going this morning to visit the Duke of Edinburgh. That says it all, I think, actually. I don't recall any other occasion when the family has actually turned out en masse to visit the Duke of Edinburgh. 3 years ago, when he had a serious chest infection, he was in hospital in London. Nobody visited him. On this occasion, they clearly were very anxious, but the prognosis appears to be a good one, albeit that he is, and this is in the back of everybody's mind, obviously, he is 90 years old, but he is fit, doesn't smoke, hasn't smoked since he was the day he married the Queen in 1947, drinks very little, his weight is good, he keeps pretty fit. So if a 90-year-old is going to undergo this procedure, he surely is as fit as a 90-year-old could be to withstand it.
Nick, thank you.